Okay, so hey, what's up, guys? This is me, your friend Captain Drs and Krs, the back with another video of Krs and Drs Talks. And in today's video, we are going to talk about the smartphone cameras, the future of the smartphone camera, basically. And it is going ups and downs, and we're going to talk about each and everything, so many aspects in this today's video. So, without any further ado, let's get started. My one of the favorite thing for the smartphone camera is the megapixel thing. There is a lot going on. I personally, even I was the first as for me who got into this type of stuff. I was using iPhone 6s, I believe, and I shifted to a 64 megapixel sensor just because of that main sensor. And I believe that people shouldn't go and trust this type of stuff.
Uh, I think in the myself when the megapixel game started, many of the people were excited to buy that phone. We know the Redmi G90T phone was having like a 64 or 48 megapixel. We were excited to go with that, but had the heating issue at that time because the processor, which was I think the G90T, in that was a little bit of heat sink. So that is why. But the camera game was the excellent, and many are doing this day also, and we can see the update also like 108, 200, and many more will come.
Yes, exactly. See, there is currently the 2 megapixel sensor going on in the mind, and people are currently crazy about it. The current cheapest, I believe, is the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, who is having the 200 megapixel main sensor. If I'm wrong, let me know. And there is followed by the Motorola, who is in this 200 megapixel stuff. But I have seen the quality of them, and they are really upsided stuff. They are using the Samsung sensors, and these two phones are, as per me, available globally, and so I'm talking about it. But they aren't able to, compete with that even a good quality flagship sensor of a Samsung, which is kind of a upsided stuff as per me.
Um, Talking about the megapixel, many companies enter. If we start with the beginning, there were only two companies who entered or who started this game, which were the Samsung and the Sony. But now we
No,
can
no,
also.
no. I believe not Sony, Huawei was there, right?
No, I am talking about the GM1 sensor and the IMX. I'm talking about that thing. IMX is by the Sony, and GM1 is
Exactly. IMX
yeah.
is by Sony, but GM sensors and IMX sensor. We're going to talk about that thing, but in a bit. And yeah, you are absolutely right that Sony and Samsung was the first who came up with this type of stuff to make sensors. And currently, there is another new sensor going on in the market, which is they also make a 50 megapixel, 48 megapixel sensor, but in compare with that, they have a really punchy type of colors if you have seen in a very budget decided range. And what do you think about those cameras, those camera sensors, if it comes in well optimized manner?
I don't think because each company are using the Samsung or Sony sensor, no matter what is the price tag, or either they
No,
will
no,
don't tell,
in very
either
very
they
very
will
very
don't tell, and they will go like 12 megapixel. If I have seen that 12 megapixel is coming, company will not tell that which sensors they are using. In the event
12
also, I have
megapixel
seen that.
and
Yeah.
13 megapixel sensors. 12 megapixel and 13 megapixel sensors. This type of sensors I have seen in a budget sided range, and they are currently, taking a lot of space in the market too, because there is a 4850 which is getting a respect in a way of there, because it is getting respect. I don't know why. There was a time when megapixel was a big game as per me. 64 was there, which even costed around 24,000 INR or even 50k INR in India. And now you can get a 64 megapixel sensor under 15,000 or even under 20,000. a good quality 64 megapixel sensor.
Even the 108 has the same game also.
Yes, the 108 is, yeah. I hadn't seen a lot of smartphones, but many companies have, introductory price, or you can say offer price, or you can say in sale price. They come under 20k or even sometimes under 50k, a good quality 108 megapixel sensor. Otherwise, there are some really unusual 108 megapixel sensor, which I believe we shouldn't talk about those sensors.
Yeah, but I think the megapixel game started. We have to see the more sensors which were not in the era of the smartphone. There were, we can say, two camera only available, but now there are more. Due to the, I think this megapixel game, they have implemented more sensors, like we can see telephoto, ultra wide, and gimbal also is entering, and I think because of the megapixel only, they had a chance to explore the other sensors also, which were not, or we were not thinking that this can be placed in the smartphone.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. But if you go in the past, I believe the Huawei's P30, which was having that moon camera sensor, I believe.
Yes.
That guy was having the telephoto main sensor, and not main sensor, the telephoto sensor, and it was, I believe, for the first time a very different brand, except rather than the Apple and Google. No, not Google. Apple and Samsung. Who entered. Yes, Samsung, who entered into this type of stuff.
Samsung, this is for the not first time that the Huawei is coming with the 4 sensor, because as per I know,
Samsung, in the global market.
Yeah, in the global market, Samsung also has the 4 camera. If you remember the A series, I think, or the A series, which has the 4 camera.
A9, I believe.
Yeah.
A very well advertised quad camera setup phone.
Yes. But I think that phone doesn't have the features like ultra wide telephoto. Am I right?
I didn't remember the spec sheet of that phone, but and even in online websites and stuff, if you go around and look after this phone, it is not available. I believe that the Samsung don't want to share anything about it. Even if you search for the Samsung A9, they shows you around Samsung A series based smartphones, so which is I don't know why, but if you know what is the fact sheet of what are the camera sensors basically, that we know in the comment section, because I didn't remember about that.
So if we are talking about the megapixel also, the size of the lenses are also increasing.
Yeah. Apple, I believe, was the trendsetter of this thing. So if I do have to say so, Apple was the trendsetter of this sensor, making the sensor bigger and taking it more, and then many other brands who started increasing their sensor sizes. I have seen in a budget sided factor a big sense there is only one small camera inside of it, which looks really weird, and also they take a very horrible photos. But we won't be talking about those. I'm talking about the Apple, and if you compare the size of the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which was having the triple camera setup, and the current is the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it will definitely show you that the iPhone 11 Pro Max camera looks like a really tiny sensor in compare with the 14 Pro Max, but still it takes a really good photos. And if I do have to say so, the big sensor is equal to the good night quality photo is currently going on, but that's completely different.
I think the sensor game was not from today. The Motorola Hasselblad, the zoom camera, known by the name, started the game, but I think wasn't successful, because if that thing would be successful, we can see nowadays with the pop-up camera as in the camera, if we can see
zoomable
the lens.
Camera basically.
Yeah, the system was something like that, that you can feel that in the phone you have set the lens. It was something like that. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
if that thing was successful at that time, then might be we can see a more camera quality and more bigger sensors. But now we have to start with the like tiny one, and then after I think might get the chance of the bigger sensors which we can see in the cameras.
Um, that Motorola and with Hasselblad's, if you didn't remember, that phone was kind of say looking a lot like a DSLR, or you can say SLR in a phone factor size. And not only that, Samsung also made just a lot of smartphones which are like that, but you can't find any type of that phones. You have to research hard and go and grab that phone. And if yeah, you were completely right. If in future we might be able to see something like this, it won't be weird, but it's old, which is kind of a old things are coming back as per some rumors also. Many companies are doing that same thing, old type of stuff, implementing on the new stuff. And one of the things, the 3.5mm headphone jack should be also coming, but no comments on that stuff.
Yeah, but if the camera are getting much more sizier, or we can say large, then we can also see the improvement, but it hasn't been in some phones because it is not Apple and Samsung who are making the large. There are many other companies, but if we compare the quality, it has a lot of difference.
Exactly. And if you are talking about the quality, now let's talk about one of my favorite thing, optimization. But before that, let me answer the Kiara's question. And if I do have to say so, the quality, if it gets improved in a lot of factors, it will be nicer. But I have seen a smartphone such as there is Oppo Reno 8 Pro Plus, which looks really big in the real life. The cameras basically. There is the OnePlus 10R also. There is the Vivo's kind of say the budget sided range to the Vivo's Y series, sorry V series basically. And so it is kind of a say creating a concept that the bigger the lens, the more good photo it will capture. But that's completely different, and that's why here comes the thing, optimization.
I want to
And
correct that the optimization is not in question. Each of the company is following their signature tone because Samsung has their own tone quality, Apple has their own, Pixel has their own, and Vivo Oppo does the same thing. So if not interrupting with the optimization, or we can say the sharpness or the tone and the edges.
yes, but still, if sharpness, tones, everything, the natural cool photo, it needs to get optimized, and that's the optimization. As for me, okay.
Because
And so,
if you are sticking with the optimization, each has the different tone of the optimization, different calculation in papers and in the photo quality also. Because if each and company will be follow the same tone, then there will be no meaning and no friend of the different thing, because each has the different taste of the optimization. Some like the beauty mode, some doesn't like. This is the great example.
but still, see, Google, for example, I am talking, Google takes photos in a way that it looks really natural. There is Vivo photo who have a lot of cool warmth and saturation and stuff on the top of it. Current iPhone 14 Pro Max 48 megapixel sensor takes exposure type the photo. There is a Samsung Photos S22 Ultra, I believe, who takes a really very punched color photo. And they still, in some manners, if you take a photo and suddenly click it, it needs sometimes get Vivo's photo get overexposed. Sometimes Apple photo gets a very more saturated. That needs to be optimized. So I'm talking about the optimization.
Also, I have also seen that if you are moving more into the camera, means if you are adding more features in the camera rather than using the phone will get hit up. We had here of the X90 also. and hearing of the X90 also, and also of the Sony, which is known for the camera.
See,
Very hitting thing
if
is
you are
going on.
if you are mentioning Sony, Sony makes one of the coolest top of the line camera type of phone. And if you are into the Sony DSLRs, then I would be definitely going ahead and recommending you to go ahead with the Sony's phone for your daily usage, because it is a full-fledged camera in your hand. But in some levels, there is a lot that processor can't handle on the phone. Let's give an example of processor A is using everything on the top of it, so it won't be able to do that type of stuff.
I think they are using the flagship. There is no doubt. Sony is using the flagship and the latest, which is coming at that time, and also the Vivo is using the same thing. But don't know why is not happening with it.
They go ahead and target the camera, and they don't give a good focus on the actual cameras. And so after whether all see, if you are into the tech, or if we are into the tech, we will be using a lot of features such as 8K video recording, 4K video recording, 1080p at 60 frames, the front with the 4K, using different filters and taking photos. But there aren't a lot of users who will go ahead and use. They just go ahead and click photo, not even on that high-end megapixel, or you can say that 50 megapixel, 48, whatever it is. They don't switch to that sensor too, and they take a normal photo, which in some sense feels good, but as per in a tech sense, it's not feeling really good. And cameras need to be cooled down. Sometimes if you are recording 8K at 30 FPS is currently 24 FPS, and if you record it, and it will show you a timer, and after that it will cut that phone off, and sometimes in between of that the phone cameras get crashed, and it's really bad to see the phone's camera sensor getting crashed or something like that, which is, I believe, not the software, the hardware on the software integration is not really good as per me.
Let us see, because hasn't been great experience if you are more into the camera, and if you are using phone as a camera, then the companies like Vivo and Sony has the great, because they are implementing that great megapixel thing, but are sometimes hitting up, and sometimes also take time in the rendering of the photo quality.
Yes, if you take HDR photos, and
Yes.
you can, if you click on the photo afterwards taking it, it will show you that it is rendering, or it will show you that the processing is going on. To be frank, it sometimes feels weird to show photos like that, but it's that. If you are into the HDR photo taking, and there is also, I'm not talking about some of the current flagship brand. There is also happening with the already established well-known flagship brands such as Apple and Samsung, and also with the Google. Pixel 7's Tensor chipset is good, but it needs some sort of good ingredients on the top of it, such as the hardware and the software integration getting more powerful to get that same photo which was able to capture on the Pixel 3, or you can say 3.
But I think Samsung is doing better, because Apple is first time coming with the 48, and 48 is also getting heat up, as we have seen. And but Samsung is doing better because they are also using the cooling chamber, which I think many companies don't do. I think this will help.
But it was still only for the S21 series, but there was the same camera sensors for the S22 series. The main sensors were having its own optimization, but afterwards, I don't know what happened, that S22 cameras were having a lot of problems after small, tiny updates. It was starting showing a renderer processor, something like that on the top. It doesn't allow you to take sometimes a super slow-mo mode, and there were a lot of issues about that S22 sensors. But yeah, it was solved. And still, if you take 4K at very high frames such as 60 FPS, you can say 8K at 30 FPS, the phone definitely gets heated up. And if you take the good quality photo of that 108 megapixel, I believe the S22 is the main sensor. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you take that 108 megapixel sensor, it will definitely be going ahead and taking the time to render. And the same story goes for that 48 megapixel sensor for the iPhone, and the same story goes for the 48 megapixel sensor taking the portrait sensor on the iPhone. And yeah, portrait sensors still that same effect is going on for the Samsung S series, the Vivo, Pixel, whatever brand you want to add it. Even in a really budget range, that same story is there.
Even Xiaomi, I have here Xiaomi tried with the software also, they can give the portrait.
Yes,
I have seen that
Redmi Note.
The update will push that in the after you update to the MIUI something, you will get the portrait mode in your camera. This was the crazy
I believe
thing.
the Redmi Note 4A was there, who was also having the portrait sensor after the update.
I don't know, but I have seen in one of my friend's phone, and that is why I know that my friend was clicking the portrait, and I asked, he told me that this was by the updater, so it was the crazy.
It's completely weird to hear that, but you sometimes software updates are good, and sometimes the software updates completely kills the camera. It's normal. If you are new to the phone, that's normal thing. Sometimes you will get something good, sometimes it will kill the complete sensor.
Also, we were talking about the companies who enter in the megapixel category. We were talking about that the Samsung and Sony are well recognized, but after the company started very crazy, like Zeiss also entered in the market. The Zeiss was the very old, but after seeing the Sony and Samsung, Zeiss has the a great reputation, or we can say the push the Zeiss get is excellent because many of the brands are using this camera and has the positive.
Yes, there is Zeiss, like LEICA, Leica or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Leica is also taking a great part in especially Xiaomi is using this sensor more, I guess. But
Sharp also is there. Sharp.
But if we talk about the globally, because Sharp is not as globally.
Sharp doesn't glow globally.
Yes.
Sharp doesn't go.
If they go globally, we can see the great that the 1-inch sensor of the Sharp and
yes, exactly.
the phone which I cover in the Krs and Drs was also excellent, but hasn't been great news, and I don't know the phone is available because they were telling that this will be at excellent price range. Also, you will get the great refresh rate on that phone. Was crazy, but no news regarding that.
And Sharp is basically known for the good innovation, but if they go globally, it will get more popularity. And even if go ahead and check for the spec sheet of that phone, sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not available. So it is so. And if you are talking about sensors, I believe
also you forget the Hasselblad also, but Hasselblad has not been great with the OnePlus because I think when the Hasselblad started OnePlus, the reputation of the giving the budget thing was down because with the branding of Hasselblad, they were kicking the price up.
Yes, exactly. And I believe that the same story will continue for the OnePlus 11 because still the Hasselblad partnership is going on. Yes. There is three of the current more into the booming, Leica, Zeiss, and the Hasselblad. Zeiss is, if you have used the Nokia phones in current region also, they uses Zeiss. And if you remember the Nokia's Penta camera phone, Pure View 9, it was also having the Zeiss lens on the top of it, Zeiss coating. And also the Vivo's X90 series is having the Zeiss coating, which is kind of really nice.
Yeah, but Zaz is the thing. Zaz provide the best because if we are talking about the great cameras, then Zaz is there. Like the X series of Vivo started with the Zaz. Then we can see the Sony also has the Zaz, and in many of I think the iQOO phone also in one or two I think they provide the Zaz.
I hadn't seen the iQOO phones with the Zeiss, but if it comes tomorrow, then it's nice. iQOO comes with Zap, iQOO comes with the Leica, iQOO comes with Zap. They know how to optimize the stuff currently, and their future is definitely looking really bright. So if it comes tomorrow, it will be nice.
Also, Sony also, as we know, Apple and Sony partnership regarding to the camera. I think Apple is something into the ZES, according to my knowledge, or it is not.
There were some rumors. The Apple was using the Zeiss coating, Zeiss lens, but Apple hadn't, completely confirmed from their side that they are using. Otherwise, they definitely go ahead and tell the people that we were using this type of stuff after a time, but they aren't telling. So, and they aren't even responding to that question. So it's like that. But knows Apple takes something and make it in a way that it feels like it is there only. They are making that stuff. Same goes for the display. They are using the Samsung, and it feels like it's completely their display on the top of it.
Also, if Sharp, you are watching that, please bring the phone globally because LTPO thing started with the Sharp and when 144 hertz wasn't announced yet, they were giving that thing. And 1 hertz to 144 hertz is the simple game of the. In the budget phone also, the Sharp provide that thing. So we are hoping that this phone comes globally.
Even I will be super excited to see because in till 2015 I have seen the Sharp phones. They were into the future type of stuff, and still today they are into the future type of stuff, and they knows what is looking the phones, cameras, everything together, and they produce a good quality phone. So if it comes globally, it's nice.
Because the zooming lens has been started now, but the phone I review got the zooming lens, and even the Sony does the zooming lens thing.
Yeah, it's getting more common. When Sony announced the Xperia Pro, I was like, this will be completely going carry forward onto the iPhone 14 series, but it wasn't like that. Yeah, the Apple shifted to the 48 megapixel main sensor, but it still needs work and it will improve itself by the time.
And what do you think the Apple will bring the periscope telephoto lens in their camera department, which is a lot now common in the certain flagships, like we have seen in the Vivo. I think Samsung does the periscope telephoto.
Yes, exactly. Samsung.
Yeah, and Sony also does because these are the giants and these are producing the best camera. X90 X series of the Vivo, yes.
Periscope telephoto sensor, as per me, needs a lot of better work on its back end and in also front end, also in the software, because it sometimes overexpose the natural good looking photo, and sometimes if you go ahead and take a normal periscope telephoto, very zoomed photo, it feels that they have completely re-edited and neated that photo, which, to be frank, it will be enhancing, but it doesn't feel right. And when you zoom in it, the rattle you can see on your screen, which is kind of horrible. The complete lens shakes inside of it, and to be frank, it took out some of the good photo, but it feels really unusual. Still, it has OIS on the back end, but still, it was able to feel that type of stuff. So Apple, have a really good reputation of providing the good software. So they will take in time, but definitely they will go ahead with this periscope telephoto sensor in future.
because many had started, but the recognition is got by the three companies only.
Yes. Um, Samsung is, taking that periscope telephoto and telephoto together to the next level. But there isn't a lot of brands who are into this. Huawei was there, but don't know what they are doing. There is the flagship coming in the March, and I will be looking forward with it. So let's see how it does. So yeah, those were some of the things which we talked about the smartphone cameras and the future about it. We didn't mention the 8 megapixel ultra-wide sensor and a 2 megapixel macro, or you can say 5 megapixel macro type sensor, because those are basically the useless sensors, and I believe they are useless. And if it comes in a good manner, then it's nice.
Also, the portrait and AI sensor also.
Yes, even the QVGA sensors are coming into the market. But if you are good, if you are having a good brain, and if your budget isn't tight, you know what to do with those sensors. So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below if you have any questions regarding our talk in this video, and if you have
also regarding of the sensors also, you can ask it out on the comments.
Yes, definitely. And if you have other good knowledge about it, then also let us know. We can start a good discussion about it. This was Captain Drs.
Krs here. We will back soon with another video. And like, subscribe and share, press bell notification to also never miss any other update coming soon with another.
Stay safe, stay connected. Peace out.